Frank Reich has now been hired by the Carolina Panthers.
Somewhere along those lines. Happy
I like those
Halloween Eve.
I like those glasses, dude. They're
Tonight's
nice.
gonna be a thriller.
Have I told you I worked at the World Series? It was my first year at the stadium. I went to Fanatics Fest, I went to Comic-Con, and I went to the World Series. It was my first year at the stadium, and the Yankees made it all the way to the World Series. Unfortunately, we lost 5 games to the Dodgers.
I said the Giants will be a perfect fit for John Harbaugh because you already established the quarterback situation. You already established the running back position. You already established the right receiver position, and you have the top 5 pick in the draft.
Todd Bowles, at best, is a mediocre coach. He did the same situation with the Jets back in 2015, ultimately maliciously ruining a power-hungry Baker Mayfield and potentially Mike Evans.
But Indianapolis ultimately came back, got the go-ahead touchdown. Then, at the end of the game, when Brady got the ball less than a minute, Peyton had his head down the entire time because he knew Brady had enough time. But the interception happened. It's funny. All of a sudden, Peyton Manning hears the crowd roaring. He finally looks up and starts jumping up and down real.
Saludos desde Nikki Steez, Agent Warrior X, Power, Everything on the Table, Episode 6. I'm joined by my co-host, Agent Warrior X, and it is St. Patrick's Day.
Well, happy St. Patrick's Day to all you guys out there, and welcome to Everything on the Table, Episode 6. Today is Tuesday, March 17th, 2026. As of right now, I got both the Knicks and Pacers game, and I got the World Baseball Classic Championship. So, the first thing I want to cover up is the March Madness draw. I think, in my opinion, this March Madness was absolutely crazy. The drawing, the drawing having Michigan becoming the best team in the Big Ten, ultimately saying that Michigan State is the top 3 team in the East. I think they pretty much got that right.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, but time will ultimately tell if that's the case. And I had a little fun earlier today on 3-Point Blitz, episode 51, where I did a little bracket through the NCAA.com because you can create custom brackets. You sign up for free with with your Gmail, email, whatever the case may be, and you can make your own custom brackets. You can do like 3, 4, 5, 1, however many you want to. And I did 2 earlier today. So I had a little fun messing around with it. Both times I tried to do different upsets that could potentially happen, but
Yep, to tell you the truth. So right now you got Venezuela versus United States for the World Baseball Classic Championship. Who you got winning that game?
now most likely probably going to go United States, but has it officially started yet, or is it just...
Yeah, it's started. They're just doing the starting lineup for Team Venezuela.
Okay, so
I kid you not, though. Ronald Acuna Jr. and Eugenio Suarez are the best players because I know right now another part of the network is streaming the World Baseball Classic Championship. As a matter of fact, I could switch the Knicks game into the Thanksgiving, no, not Thanksgiving, St. Patrick's Day special between the Cavaliers and the Bucks.
And yeah, it was funny too. I was watching, I went out a little bit earlier to the bar, just local bar, just for one thing of wine. That's it. Because then I came home for dinner. But during that, I was seeing it at ESPN on the TV. I couldn't hear, but I could see what they were doing. They were showing some of the luckiest basketball shots in history. Then there were some that I never even knew existed. Like there was one time Goran Dragic tried just throwing a alley-oop and instead accidentally made it. And he's just like, okay, I made it. Or you've seen a lot of those. Ginobili had one, I think. Probably a few other players. Or one time Jared Allen had that free throw for the Nets that just bounced off the rim like 6 times before it finally went in, and hit Jared Allen his head back the entire time, waiting to see what happened. Then when it finally went, he just put his head forward, nodded. So
Yep.
was
Or
fun.
even that lucky shot from the Raptors and Sixers game 7. You know which game I'm talking about.
Yep. There's been a lot of them throughout the years, but sometimes it's better to have lucky shots than to have good ones. Or even one time, Brandon Miller did one for the Hornets. He was just trying to throw it up just to try. They were down by 2 right at the end of the game. He had more than half the court, so he's just like, all right, throw it up, at least try. And all of a sudden it went in, and the Hornets won by 1. That was more of a recent one, but sometimes those lucky shots just happen. And I wonder if tonight
What
there's going
about
to be
that one
any.
bounce? What about that one bounce against the Knicks last year? With Tyrese Halliburton versus the Knicks.
I'm trying to remember what was this, the playoffs or?
It was the playoffs. Yeah, it was the playoffs.
Oh yeah, so that's a major one. Anything in the playoffs, especially, because those are domino effect lucky shots sometimes. Where if you change the outcome of that, all of a sudden that changes everything. Potentially changes everything after that. Obviously, Sixers Raptors being the biggest domino effect lucky shot, because who knows what happens after that.
And then
Change everything.
over time, the Raptors became the first time champion. Now, if you were to talk about underdog champions who hasn't won or first time or hasn't won in a very long time, let's say the 2019 Raptors we mentioned earlier. What about the 2023 Nuggets? They haven't won a championship in the first time in their franchise history. Or better yet, what about the Washington Nationals or the Texas Rangers? They haven't won a championship.
Right. There have been a lot of great first time moments throughout sports. And sometimes it may not always be for team, but it could be for a player or coach, like Super Bowl 54 when Kansas City was their second Super Bowl win, but Andy Reid's first after all those years of being a coach, or Super Bowl 41. The Colts first in Indianapolis, second in franchise history, but finally Peyton Manning and Tony Dungy got a ring after waiting all those years.
Yep, that's the Colts, I'm assuming. And this year celebrates 20 years of the 2006 Super Bowl with the Colts and Bears. That was a really good one.
And there's been a funny trend going on the last couple years. Eagles lost Super Bowl 39 to the Patriots, won Super Bowl 59. Seahawks lost Super Bowl 40, but won Super Bowl 60. Now, can the Chicago Bears follow that trend? I mean, the odds are higher now than it would have been a year ago, but that remains to be determined.
No, I'm going to go with no, because you have some other teams that is up and coming. You have the Rams looking like a still great team. You have the Seahawks still looking like serious contenders after that massive run they had last year. The Eagles are slowly declining. I mentioned it earlier a couple months ago. And as for the Giants, we do not know that yet. But I will say this. Giants will be up and coming. They're not going to be Super Bowl contenders right away after that offseason they had. No. On paper, it looks great, but let's see how that plays out on the field. Because again, you may never know what happens in the next couple months come September. But I will say this. The Giants had a really good offseason so far. And speaking of that, they just signed another offensive tackle for the Giants. That's all I got to say.
And then there's another receiver from the Falcons coming in too. Which
you mean Darnell Mooney?
Yep.
You talking about Darnell Mooney? Yep. He's actually a really solid receiver. He's not like a 1,000-yard receiver type, but he can get the job done in some crucial moments. The only problem I have with him is that he needs to stay healthy. That's it.
And it's certainly an interesting. Speaking of football, we got the big news: the Denver Broncos, Miami Dolphins swapped several picks, but the biggest story of it was that Jalen Waddle's now a Denver Bronco.
I think, to be honest with you, the Broncos are going back. I'm not kidding. they're going back to the AFC Championship again. I have a gut feeling when Denver had that massive run before Bo Nix had a crucial injury before the AFC Championship. Yeah, I think they're coming back healthy. If only Cortland Sutton could do his part, and of course, they still need a running back. They still need a defensive edge, and that's pretty much it.
And you look at last year on both sides, on defensive side of the ball, there were times they were phenomenal. Nick Bonito, Alex Singleton and company, they had a really good season. The offense, well, the team success in the offense were sometimes on par, but let's say Bo Nix was sometimes hot and cold. Sometimes the Broncos would barely win and you would have your question marks, but there were also times Bo Nix played really well. Giving him another good option and while to throw the ball to can certainly help on the offensive side of the ball. So that's why the Broncos wanted to bring him in. Now for Miami, look, they're going to have to invest in their offense through the draft.
Let me take the floor for you because I got something to say about the Dolphins. Come the 2026 offseason, Judgment Day arrived. Deafening silence. The team that we once knew has officially been vaporized without a trace. The greatest football team that we once knew is no more. 11 of 26 players have been casted off to the wind. Wait, I forgot to add Bradley Chubb. Make that 12 players trade. Cast free agency or trade it away. I completely understand Tyreek Hill's situation with the Dolphins, but I think in my perspective, they should have never traded for Tyreek Hill because some point in time he's gonna have some crucial injuries. At some crucial moments, he can't stay healthy. That's the thing with receivers like this. Sometimes when they come back healthy at the right time, they always find a way to have their body breaking down. Worst case scenario, I could say that other teams like Bradley Chubb going to Buffalo. I don't know if Buffalo needs another edge rusher because to tell you the truth, don't they already have Joey Bosa? Oh wait, he's a free agent. My bad. He's a free agent, and they saw. And I think, to be honest with you, this offseason for the Miami Dolphins has been nothing but brutal. They cut Tua. The only player that's left is Devon Achane. Darren Waller isn't going to help out, and that's pretty much it. You are better than the Bills, all right. It started with promise. It ends with death. The Bills will piss on your graves like they always do.
Oh, yeah, and as far as that claim they were better than the Bills, that theory only held up one time early in the 2022 season, but since then, it's been exposed as a fraudulent theory. And now the Miami Dolphins they're in full-blown rebuild, but they're not actively making moves to bring in guys to build the team up. Like you look at the Raiders and the Giants, they're at least actively trying to build a team. We'll see if it actually pans out or not in the future, but they're at least making an effort to build a team. The Miami Dolphins are dismantling the team, but not getting the right pieces to rebuild. Unless you somehow have a lucky draft, maybe a year or two you could be solid, but as of right now, there's nothing indicating that it's going in an upward direction.
You know, speaking of sports, when it comes to like commentators, we never talk about best commentators of all time. If I had to choose my Mount Rushmore of commentators, I'm gonna give you my four Mount Rushmore. My first Mount Rushmore is none other than Michael Kay for the New York Yankees broadcasting booth. It's because the fact that he only did some radio shows ever since he was a kid. Michael Kay wanted to be a broadcaster or a commentator. And since then, he has been nothing but amazing. And at the same time, a local boy wanted to do some commentating. The second the second commentator I want to mention is none other than Joe Buck. Yes, he may have some boring moments, especially with that call with with the Patriots and Giants saying pressures on the edge. Eli Manning stays on his feet, edge it up down the field. It is caught by Tyree because that helmet catch was by far the best call he ever did. It sounded like it was boring, but at the same time, it was amazing. But Troy Aikman, on the other hand, was also another one too, which I'm going to put that as an honorable mention. My third, Mount Rushmore of sports commentators, it's close. It's down between Al Michaels and, of course, Joe Davis. Joe Davis has been doing phenomenal in terms of ever since taking over Fox Sports with besides the Dodgers commentating booth, he has been doing very well in terms of the NFL and MLB as well. And the final one is none other than Mike Breen. One way to describe it is that his commentary, especially some moments, but as an honorable mention, I could put Kevin Harlan. I'm sorry. Kevin Harlan's too good, though.
For me, I'm gonna go a little bit outside the box, go old school in Howard Cosell, a guy who was a multi-sport announcer, most famously in the early years of Monday Night Football, most famously during the peak years when boxing was still a huge draw with Muhammad Ali's of the world. He was the voice that a lot of modern announcers, sports announcers, emulate off of to some degree. And he was in one of the initial poster childs for a lot of people in today's era. And then another one, you got Kevin Harlan, who both football and basketball, high energy announcer. We know his infamous "I'm calling both games" moment where he called 2 games at one time.
I'm calling both games.
Yep, that was an amazing moment right there. Of course, I'm going to also go basketball-wise. Here's a legendary name, Marv Albert, who spent years in the broadcast booth and is a voice pretty much everybody knows. Everyone who's lived through either the Bird Johnson era, the Jordan era, the Kobe, LeBron eras,
or the Nets era. The Nets era was also part of that too.
Right. They all know who Marv Albert is. Anyone who's ever picked up an NBA video games heard that voice there, has heard it on the TV. It's one of the most iconic names in his sport, so I got to give him nods there. Of course, if you're looking for other memorable name, Gus Farad. Gus Johnson, I mean.
Iron Eagle's another one.
Yep, he's done a multi-sport announcer with incredible high energy, who's had some amazing calls throughout his entire career.
Yep. He did the Nets broadcasting booth, he did football, he did basketball, he even did March Madness.
Yep, he's an absolute, he's phenomenal. In all sports, he brings that high energy too. And apparently, he's also done some underground MMA and some lower scale boxing too, which if you ever look up Gus Johnson best calls, they'll sometimes appear in the complication along with his football and basketball as well.
The reason why I put Al Davis or Joe. Sorry, not Al Davis. I meant Al Michaels or Joe Davis is because it was close between the modern viewership and the old school viewership. Yes, Al Michaels was one of the greatest commentators in football, mostly because he does most of the time with Chris. I forgot his last name though, but Chris
Collinsworth.
Thank you, Chris Collinsworth. He is by far the Patrick Mahomes Glazer. Every sentence he makes it during his commentating booth, he said, "Oh, this guy's better with Patrick Mahomes," or he didn't say Jackson Dart is compared to Mahomes. I don't think so. If you give him more time for development, you'll understand why.
And of course, another name iconic that is one of the poster boys for sports broadcasting, John Madden.
God bless the Raiders coach.
Yeah, you're talking. He had 2 play-by-play partners that make up 2 of the greatest NFL commentary teams of all time. First with Pat Summerall, and then with Al Michaels. Matter of fact, the earlier Madden years original commentary team, Summerall, Madden. Then when Summerall stepped down, Madden moved to Monday Night Football on ABC at the time. It was Al Michaels and John Madden for a while. And
I think Al Michaels and John Madden were by far the best ones in the 2000s. Yes, what's his last name again? But before he stepped down.
Pat Summerall.
Yeah, Pat Summerall. Pat Summerall was another good commentator for the NFL days. And of course,
matter of fact, even Joe Buck tried to emulate him early in his career. He even said in an interview that was his early plan. But as time went along, I think Buck realized that he was better off having his own style instead of trying to emulate Summerall. So there's that Summerall influence in one example.
If I had to choose another line for Joe Buck, if I had to choose another line for Joe Buck, it would have to be baseball related, and the famous one since his father. We will see you tomorrow night, like his father did with the Braves and Twins back in 1991, and his son did the exact same thing as the St. Louis Cardinals and the Texas Rangers in Game 6 of the 2011 World Series. David Freese has played a huge role in that game.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different announcers you could go with too. It depends on your sport and depends on how you look at it from. But there's also two best analysts too, not necessarily play-by-play or color commentators, but best analysts or on-air personalities too.
Someone said some people don't like Joe Buck. People have their own opinions. I don't disagree or agree with you, but people have their own opinions.
I think as the years have gone along, though, I think the hate for Joe Buck has clampered down a little bit now. I think once he found more of a upbeat personality, it started to, I guess to some degree, soften the blow, and it made him more likable in their eyes. So as the years have gone along, though, you see his commentary game has evolved from Mitchell over the years since.
To tell you the truth, I think those commentary moments some has glazing moments. Chris Collinsworth is a definition of a Patrick Mahomes glazer. He's a definition of a Patrick Mahomes glazer. Now, if you want to talk about Mike Tirico is another great commentary for the current NBA NBC, and of course NFL on NBC. And I could say he's actually got some really good energy too. He's Detroit native too.
Right now, if you want to talk about some of the best and most engaging analyst personalities, obviously Stephen A. Smith on ESPN is the most famous, but don't forget who paved the way. Stuart Scott, the late Stuart Scott, was the original larger-than-life ESPN-type personality.
You know what? At some point in time, Stephen A. Smith at this point is becoming one of the most memest analysts and co-hosts of First Take. Because to tell you the truth, at one point I did saw Stephen A. Smith a few times at Fanatics Fest. If you guys wonder what Fanatics Fest is, it's a sports conventional event at the Javits Center. And I was there for 2 years now. I met some sports athletes and I met some analysts like Mad Dog Russo. I met him. I met some of the content creators as well. And of course, I got to meet some athletes. For example, I met Cam Scatterboo last year. I met Jackson Dart last year before his rookie year. And of course, I met Luke Weaver and Damian Priest. Can you imagine if you work this hard and try to go to one thing that you love the most? Hey, Nikki, I got a question to ask. Would you like to go to Fanatics Fest one day?
If the opportunity ever arises, I would think about it, but that's something I have to look at personally.
Heck, even one of the Eagles content creators was there as well.
Yeah, that's something to think about. But like I said, like Stephen A. Smith is the modern day large in life personality that everyone recognizes. And here's credit, he's found a way to be versatile too with his work. He's found ways to click with different people throughout the years. And another one who, over the past decade or so, ever since 2016, when Skip Bayless left ESPN and went to FS1, he pretty much paved the way for none other than Shannon Sharpe to become one of the biggest personalities. He got to extend his personality that made him a likable, that made him a draw in the NFL. Now he got to take it to a larger stage, and he became more than just a football guy. Early on, people saw Shannon Sharpe as a football guy. He was on CBS, then eventually first throughout Undisputed with Skip. He became more. He started talking about basketball. He started talking about athletes related to life issues, about making smart decisions, and about making, he talked about that particularly with certain players. Like I remember with Jerry Richardson when he had to step down due to some of the allegations he faced. He talked about how the importance of making smarter decisions in the workplace, period, whether it's a sports setting or any other setting. And he's now he's doing his own show, the Club Shay Show. He has guests from all different walks, from sports, from entertainment, music, all different
Athletes,
walks.
right,
Yeah.
etc. To tell you the truth, Shannon Sharpe is by far the best analyst. Yes, his attitude during his Broncos days, his Broncos and Ravens days was the best. But ultimately, his analytics is off over the top hilarious. Because if I had to choose the best one, it has to be one segment with the Dallas Cowboys back in 2020. You remember that season with the Cowboys had the best offensive seasons in the NFL, ultimately gone to waste. They should have never burned their last time out, to tell you the truth.
Oh my goodness. I still trying to figure out what they were thinking when they did that. That was just the most embarrassing way to flame out in the playoffs in terms of stupid decision making beside the Russell Wilson interception in the Super Bowl. That obviously is the stupidest because of the circumstances behind it. But any non-championship playoff game, that was the dumbest decision considering the circumstances where the game was still in reach at the time, mind you. And they ultimately lost it in the
And I
worst
think
way
I know his
possible.
favorite line of all time. I think I know his best line ever since before he left Undisputed. Skip. Every time he talks, I said, Skip. I kid you not, he sounds hilarious when he says that.
I would say this, though. As far as Skip Bayless is arguably the best co-host of all time. But I say co-host because he always needed that number one guy in order to really have a hit show.
Well, over time, it's gone downhill because of that. And I think Skip Bayless, in my opinion, is the most biased Cowboys fan I've ever seen. Yes, I know for a fact that he made some questionable takes, but at the same time, none of them has played out really well. And speaking of what happened with the Cowboys after that after that dumb play they had last year, they did the same thing again the very next year. Remember that final play of the game?
The
When they had Zeke,
49ers again.
yep,
But this time
when
in
they had
Santa
Zeke,
Clara.
when they had Zeke at center, why would you put your running back at center? If you're gonna have a running back at center, at least it has to be strong. Like, for example, if I want to put somebody there, give me somebody like Mike Allstott or Patrick Ricard or Cam Scottaboo. Or better yet, Jerome Bettis. You could put anybody who has a strong physicality and they can still get the job done. But overall, that was by far the most dumbest play I've ever seen.
And then sometimes there's also different type of analysts that are polarizing. You either love them or hate them. They have those both sides in relation to them. You have the one side that supports them, the other side that's not a fan of them, but they end up becoming stars because of it. That to me is Colin Cowherd. He became a star as kind of that polarizing figure that either people support or people don't like. But that's actually worked in his favor in the long haul. It helped him at ESPN and it helped him at FS1 too.
Now let's talk about the tier rankings, because I know you said earlier you had some tiers to work about in terms of the teams that are best in March Madness. Please present the tier rankings for each college to see who's going to come to the top Final Four or a championship candidate.
It wasn't, well, me for tier rankings, I was more so talking about, the tier ranker website.
Yep. What about it?
I was saying that you could pretty much use that for different categories. Now, as far as March Madness goes, what we could do, because I've did a couple brackets. I could share the screen with you and share, because I did several run-throughs of this. So
go right ahead.
So we'll start with the first round, which we know for sure will happen. Duke playing Siena. This is all starting in the East. Ohio State, TCU, St. John's, Northern Iowa, Kansas, Cal Baptist. You got Louisville, South Florida,
Michigan
State, Notre Dakota State, UCLA, UCF,
mm-hmm.
And then you got UConn, Fordham. You go down to the South bracket. You got Florida, Lehigh.
Yep. Now, if you want to talk about the East, the Eastern region is a gauntlet. I kid you not. The Eastern division, the Eastern region is a gauntlet. Despite you have Duke, when they stay healthy, they're a juggernaut. When they're healthy, Duke is a juggernaut. Now, if you want to talk about other teams like Kansas, Michigan State, Michigan, etc., I think, to be honest with you, when it comes to teams like these, the top 4 teams I had for the Final Four is Duke, Florida, Arizona, and Tennessee. Those are my Final Four teams. Yes, I'm a Spartans fan, but I'm going to say that our exit at this point has to, at the best, it has to be the Elite 8. Because if we face Duke in the Elite 8, we're not going to beat Duke. I'll tell you that right now. Spartans can't beat Duke because of Cam Boozer and Isaiah Evans. So no way we're not beating Duke with that squad.
So this is just one of my brackets right here. What I could do is just add. I could do is you make the picks, but fill it in myself because obviously you don't have the screen and you would have to create an account to do it. But if you want, I could just name off the games, let you make the picks, and fill it in myself.
Yep. All right. So which game we got?
We're gonna start with the first round and just go straight forward. Start Duke,
so we got
Siena.
Duke. All right. Let's start with Duke and Siena. There's no big surprise. Duke is one of the most elite colleges in basketball besides football because they're underrated. Cameron Boozer is their top player. Isaiah Evans is their second best player. Give me Duke over Siena.
And then we got Ohio State, TCU.
All right. So the second one, I'm going to make this quick because apparently Ohio State is one of the best colleges. Well, technically one of the most elite juggernaut colleges in both basketball and football, most specifically football. But I got them beating TCU. Give me Ohio State over TCU.
You got St. John's, Northern Iowa.
All right, St. John's. Well, do you remember that segment that you did a while back to say that the top colleges never makes it to the Final Four because they got upset a couple times?
Yeah, the casual fan bracket.
And on this show, I said that's literally the mistake they did with St. John's was one of the top 3 colleges in the East. So I'm not gonna make the same mistake again, but give me St. John's. Hopefully they can get it done this time.
And you got Kansas and Cal Baptist.
Nobody should be shocked about this whatsoever. Derek Peterson is the best player. That's pretty much it. Kansas over. Damn it. All right, next one. Louisville versus South Florida. Mikael Brown Jr. has been playing a lot better, but in terms of draft stock, I could see him as a top 10 pick. Give me Louisville.
You got Michigan State and North Dakota.
Well, you know what they say. Michigan State every year is a March Madness contender. So, on top of all that, Michigan State would win this one. I'm going to keep it short and sweet.
You got UCLA, UCF.
UCLA versus UCF. I think UCLA is one of the most dominant colleges in terms of basketball and baseball. Most specifically basketball, baseball. But considering that, give me UCLA.
And then UConn Foreman.
Give me UConn.
And then we go to the South. We got Florida Lehigh.
Give me the defending champs.
You got Clemson, Iowa.
Clemson is a really solid squad, but give me Clemson too.
You got Vanderbilt, McNeese.
Give me Vanderbilt.
Then we go Nebraska, Troy.
Give me Nebraska.
Then you got North Carolina, VCU.
You know, if only Caleb Wilson would have played a little bit longer, his draft stock would have increased a lot more. Give me North Carolina.
And you got Illinois and Penn.
Give me Illinois. I saw that upset that happened in the Ivy Championship.
You got St. Mary's, Texas A&M.
Give me Texas A&M.
And the last one for this side of it, Houston, Idaho.
Houston. They went back to the finals last year. Kingston Fleming is also great too.
All right, this is the opposite side, so we'll just go up then. Iowa State, Tennessee State.
Iowa State.
Santa Clara, Kentucky.
Kentucky. They're elite in basketball.
Yep, Virginia, Wright Street, however that's pronounced.
Virginia.
And they got Tennessee versus Miami of Ohio.
Give me Tennessee.
Then we go up Alabama, Hofstra.
Bama is sometimes elite, but give me that too.
You got Texas Tech, Akron.
Texas Tech.
Then you got Georgia, St. Louis.
Give me Georgia.
And the top seed in the Midwest, Michigan against UMBC.
Give me Michigan.
And then, all right, so you got last part of the opening round. You got Purdue at Queens and
Purdue.
You got the Hurricanes and the Missouri Tigers.
Give me the Hurricanes.
And you got Gonzaga, Kennesaw State.
Give me Gonzaga. Gonzaga is sometimes elite too.
Yeah, BYU.
This is something I want to say about BYU. If BYU becomes serious contenders, AJ Depensah might be the player of the tournament. And plus he's one of the top 3 players of this year's draft class. So give me BYU.
And then you got Arkansas, Hawaii.
You know, a lot of people's been talking about Darius Scuff. Darius Scuff is looking like an elite player. For the first time since 2003, this draft class is elite. Give me Arkansas.
And you got Wisconsin going against High Point.
Give me Wisconsin. Give me Wisconsin.
All right, then you got Utah State, Villanova.
Villanova.
And now we're starting to move up. The last one for the opening round. Yep. Now we're moving on to the second round where things get a little more interesting. We'll stick with this side. Arizona, Villanova.
So between Arizona, I think Arizona looks very good, but I'll see them moving on. No big surprise. Arizona over Villanova.
And then we got Wisconsin versus Arkansas.
Arkansas. Darius Scuff is still too good.
Yep, it'll be interesting, though, with Coach Calipari. because we know sometimes those big games
Mm-hmm.
from his Kentucky days, they underachieve.
Yeah, that's what everybody's been talking about. All right, second one, BYU. I mentioned earlier, AJ Depensa is great, but if he continues to play better, he could be a candidate for team of the player of the tournament.
And then we got the Hurricanes versus Purdue.
That's good. That's gonna be a good one. But I think Miami should advance as an upset.
He's got the Hurricanes beating Purdue. Then we go Michigan and Georgia.
Michigan. Yaxel is actually really solid.
Yeah,
Bama.
Texas. Go ahead. Yep. Bama over Texas Tech.
And then we have Tennessee. Give me Tennessee. Nate Abbott is actually pretty solid.
And you got Kentucky over Iowa State.
Kentucky.
Or do you have that? Okay. I think I pronounced. And now to the other side, second round, got Texas A&M and Houston.
Houston. Kingston Fleming can go off.
Then you got North Carolina, Illinois.
Tar Heels, obviously. If Caleb Wilson could stay healthy.
You got Vanderbilt, Nebraska.
Nebraska.
You have Florida, Clemson.
Defending champs.
And then we got UCLA, UConn.
UConn. I'm sorry, but Bruins is not sometimes good enough.
And you got Louisville, Michigan State.
Michigan State. Go Spartans. Next one. St. John's versus Kansas. Derek Peterson should beat St. John's. No, I didn't say St. John. No, I said Kansas. I said Kansas should beat St. John.
And then
And
Duke,
then we have
Ohio.
Duke.
All
Give me
right.
Duke.
So now we're moving on to the Elite Eight. So start that off on this side. Duke versus Kansas.
Duke. Cameron Boozer should go off, and as long as the Blue Devils stay healthy, they will have a shot to be an elite college team.
And then I would set then Michigan State and UConn.
You know, between UConn and Michigan State, they always find a way to disappoint at the end. But give me UConn. Because Michigan State, most exit has to be the Elite Eight. The worst case scenario has to be the first or second round.
Then we move down.
The
We
next
got
one,
Florida and Nebraska.
is the rematch. And next up, give me the defending champs, obviously. Florida's still too good. North Carolina should be good. Actually, no, Texas. Give me Houston. I want to see a rematch. Tennessee. Give me Tennessee as an upset. Give me Bama as an upset. I know Yaxel's a really great player, but not by a long shot. And I'm going to say for the final two, BYU. And the final one, Arizona.
And now we're getting
to the
closer.
Final Four. To the Final Four. Duke, UConn, Arizona, BYU. If I had to choose one.
Let me double check. Oh, wait. I think we're at the Elite Eight, actually.
Oh, yeah. Give me Tennessee. All
right, so we'll go Tennessee over Bama.
Is that it?
Might as well go Florida, Houston while it's still on the screen.
Yep, it's a rematch, so give me Florida. Florida can go back.
All right, we're getting closer. We got, as you can see, we got a half of the Final Four set.
Yep. And then give me Duke. As long as Duke stays healthy, they're good. And this is going to be a close one because AJ Depensa could be a really great player in the tournament, but I think Arizona Wildcats are too strong. So give me Arizona.
And now we're at the Final Four of Agents bracket.
All right, so we're down to 4 teams. Duke, Florida, the defending champs, Tennessee, Arizona. Between the two number one teams in each region, let's start with Florida first. Florida was by far the greatest college basketball team. Football, they are a graveyard. They're a graveyard in terms of quarterbacks and other positions. As for Arizona and Tennessee, Tennessee had a great run, but Arizona's too strong. So my final two will be Arizona and Duke.
Arizona and Duke.
Yep, Arizona and Duke.
Let's make
So it will not be, so the defending champions will be dethroned. So now we're on to the championship. Duke versus Arizona. The winner of this year's 2026 March Madness is the Duke Blue Devils. And the tiebreaker is 3.
Okay, so we'll just put in something like 77, 74.
Yep. They win by 3. Because I have a feeling, because again, Arizona is a really good college team in terms of this year. So we do not want to underestimate our opponents. Like what the Eagles did on the first meeting in of last year. They pretty much underestimated the entirety of the Giants. And look how that happened. They lost. But you know who else lost? The Phillies. The Phillies against the Dodgers. That game was actually crazy. So the next thing I want to talk about is basketball. Is the March Madness video games. I remember EA Sports used to make March Madness video games. If I had to choose the best March Madness game, it would have to be March Madness 2004 with Melo. Because despite the fact that Melo was one of the best players to come out of Syracuse, but I think if only Syracuse made it to the national championship, Melo would have won.
Well, hey, I mean, as far as some of the best games go, you got March Madness. Was it 09 the year Derrick Rose was on the cover? That was a really good game.
Blake Griffin, that was like 2000. That was like 2011 or 2012, I think.
Right. And you even had 2K used to do hoop games too for March Madness.
College hoops, yep.
Yep, College Hoops 2K5 was a good one.
Heck, even 989 Sports did some college basketball games too.
I mean, yeah, 989 was kind of iffy, or as a whole, I'm saying. Like,
you have some solid games that like MLB, NFL Game Day, of course, NBA Shootout, and of course, the final one I'm gonna say is that NHL Shootout too.
It's interesting as far as like hockey games go. I remember one day I was over at a friend's house. I never really played hockey, but he managed to talk me into playing NHL 2K5, and it was a really fun game. Matter of fact, I even ended up getting it myself, and I remember having a lot of fun with it. And the cool part about it, what you do at all these different modes, skill challenges, pond hockey, these 1v1 or 2v2.
What was your favorite team that you used back then?
You know, that game, just being a Philly guy, I like to use the Flyers, but sometimes I would even use teams like the San Jose Sharks and Anaheim Mighty Ducks because
before they changed it to Anaheim Ducks.
Because it was easy to just play with them with teams with cool names. That
to tell you the
Sharks
truth,
were really good on that team on that game.
The San Jose Sharks was by far the most solid team. Before that 2010s blown 3-1 lead, before all that, San Jose was by far solid. Now for the Flyers, that was my first team. The Philadelphia Flyers, what I used to play NHL 2002. Yes, Mario Lemieux was their cover star, but the Flyers was actually really good. Yes, the Jersey Devils were great. The Rangers were trash. And of course, the Hurricanes were also solid too.
But then as far as like college games as a whole, my favorite was NCAA 06. The football
Wait, you talking
game.
about? Oh, I thought because I was gonna say there's two NCAA games. MVP baseball 2006. That was the NCAA college baseball, and then you have March Madness, and you have NCAA football and NCAA March Madness.
Yeah, the football one, that was a lot of fun, especially the pregame with Lee Corso doing his picks, the being able to relive classic moments with classic teams, kind of like its own situation mode. That was fun. Or even being able to play, what was it again? You build your own player and eventually import him into Madden 06, which was the first ever superstar mode for Madden. That was fun too.
Wait, you talking about NFL Street 2 import to
You could
Madden
do
06?
you could do both NFL Street and NCAA.
NCAA football.
Yep.
What about March Madness? What about NCAA March Madness? Have you ever tried playing one of those games?
For me, the last one I really touched up on was the 09 one. That was a fun game. I played it a couple games on it. I mean, I didn't really play a whole lot of the March Madness games, so I don't have a long list to go off of, so it's really just kind of a default thing.
Agreed. To tell you the truth, we're 1-0 down against Venezuela. We're 1-0 down against Venezuela.
So yeah, is it what inning is it? Is it still the first or second?
I think it's the third. I think we're at the third inning. We're at the third inning. Top of the third.
Oh, and speaking of sports, there's one subject from last week that happened almost as it started as we were on episode 5 and finished shortly afterward during the Miami Heat's game against the Washington Wizards. History was made.
Oh yeah, that Bam Adebayo 83 points. I was literally after the Nets game, right? I was like, Bam Adebayo dropped 83 points. I mean, this was crazy. Him surpassing Kobe Bryant is crazy. God bless for both Wilt Chamberlain and Kobe Bryant.
But hey, it was one of those situations too where it's just, unfortunately, the Heat were down Norman Powell, Tyler Hero, so Bam just went out there in a game against the Hornets team that's just looking, or not the Hornets, I'm sorry, that's who they're playing currently, against the Wizards, and they had nothing going, so Bam decided to go have fun, create his own historic moment, and congratulations to the young man. He also was named, obviously, Eastern Conference Player of the Week, but out west, Luka Doncic's been balling, averaging close to 40. Lakers are now the 3 seed as a result.
I kid you not. Ever since LeBron was actually playing a lot better, but it was slowly declining. But Luka Doncic, the Mavericks should have never traded for him.
Oh my gosh! Literally the worst trade ever. Worse than the Sonics being baited by the Bulls into trading Scottie Pippen right after they drafted him, because to be fair, you didn't know what Scottie was going to become at the time. It's bad in hindsight, but I could give the Sonics some benefit of the doubt. The Grizzlies trade with Pau Gasol, I can give them some benefit of the doubt because they got future picks. One of those ended up being Marc Gasol, and the Grizzlies were a respectable team in the early 2010s. But this one right here, unless you're going to get a haul of picks in return, you don't trade your superstar player, period, unless there's something in it long term.
Exactly. Which is why they got the number 1 pick last year, which, by the way, either Brooklyn or Philly should have got that pick. So heck, even the Red Sox and Yankees, where they traded Babe Ruth, they traded Babe Ruth to the Yankees, and then long term, Yankees won multiple championships.
I mean, some trades, there's a clear-cut winner, clear-cut loser. And in this case, the Lakers are the definite short-term and possible long-term winner, because let's say LeBron James actually does call it quits this season. They got their guy for the future. they have someone long term that'll keep them relevant, keep them in the mix. Now, I do think long term, if LeBron does retire this offseason, the one good thing about it, though, is potentially it helps them immediately focus toward, okay, it's officially Luka's team. Let's build around him. Because in the short term, LeBron will get you with some ticket sales along with Luka. But in the long term, once you just, there's still kind of that dynamic of you're still kind of trying to please LeBron, but you're trying to build for the future. Once LeBron steps down, it's like you no longer have that conflictive direction. You know, it's the Luka direction, build around him. And that can sometimes be the long-term effect of having two stars on differing ends of the spectrum that you're trying to make happy.
Worst case scenario for the Mavericks, this hurt them long term, especially after rigging the NBA draft. Anthony Davis was supposed to come back healthy, and then he got hurt again. He got traded to the Wizards. Kyrie Irving was supposed to come back healthy this year, and then he got hurt again. The only player that's carried no. The only player that's carrying the team is none of the Cooper Flag. As for Brooklyn, the one that stings my team the most is that trade with Houston. With that tanking rule next year, that's going to hurt us. That hurt us back 2023, and it hurted us again or potentially hurt us again in 2027. So, yeah, that trade with the Celtics when they had Paul Pierce and KG, that hurt us long term too.
Yep, and as far as you guys go, I can't believe how easily my team beat you guys on Saturday. I know the final score looks more competitive, but for majority of the game, it was not at all. It was almost looked like if you had a casual fan that was kind of peeking on the weekends, they wouldn't even know that Maxey was out based on the scoreboard. That's how embarrassing
Worst case scenario,
it was
that
at one
BJ
point.
Edgecombe was also hurt too. And yes, Embiid I know was hurt, but I was like, oh great, we're gonna destroy our tank again like we did last year. But ultimately we didn't. We made it come back at the end of the fourth quarter, but ultimately fell short. Because the fact that some players in development like Ben Saroff, Diego Durham was out for the year, I know. Nolan Traore needs to produce a little bit more, and top it all off, they need to start a lot more players. And I'm talking about younger players. Yes, Michael Porter Jr. was questionable that game, but Nick Claxton was resting. But Noah Clowney is potentially out for tomorrow's game against the Thunder.
I mean, that's insane. And here's another interesting discussion because in the East, the Atlanta Hawks with Jalen Johnson have started to heat up alongside, well, no pun intended, the Miami Heat, and they're winning games at the right time. Now the question I ask is, should Jalen Johnson be in consideration for all NBA this year?
Maybe. If he continues to play like that, yes.
Like I'd say if the Hawks finish the season strong, based off the entirety of the season, at that point, yes, he will have certainly earned an All-NBA based on a strong finish to the season. But as long as he can stay healthy and the Hawks keep winning games down the stretch, building momentum for the playoffs, possibly being the 6th or the 5th seed, we'll have to see. But speaking of that, the Orlando Magic at the 5th seed are kind of a sleeper 5 seed. They're a team that could actually be an upset alert team for someone in the opening round. And with the Raptors, I could see the Raptors moving down to the 8th seed with how the Miami Heat and Atlanta Hawks are playing recently.
Which is why I'm going to say that I agree with you. Raptors over time became good with Scotty Barnes. But I think in my perspective, if only the Heat, the Hawks never traded that pick. If only the Pelicans never traded that pick to the Hawks, they would have never been in that situation. But the Pelicans are now they're sabotaging a tank. Now they want to win. Now you want to win more games. Now you want to destroy a tank. Well, guess what? Milwaukee isn't going to save them either. Because what if they're in the playing tournament and just say they want to win it all? And yes, Giannis, I know, is hurt.
And yeah, the Milwaukee Bucks, man, I just think they made, I'm just going to call it right now. This is going to be Doc Rivers' final season as an NBA coach. I still think he'll want to coach, but I think some teams are going to finally look around and say, you know what? You had a nice run in the 2000s. Congratulations on that championship with Boston, but your style is dated. And really in recent years, we've seen the cracks fold in Doc Rivers' style of coaching. Even with the Sixers, he had Embiid and Harden pretty much, and the young Maxey getting better to help him to hide his deficiencies during the regular season. But then when he went to Milwaukee with Giannis and not really much of a team, it started to get exposed more.
And to top it all off, the Bucks got Cam Thomas. Wow, I can't believe Cam Thomas really played that bad. And I'm surprised he even declined the contract for the Nets as well. This is what he gets for not trying to want more money. But then again, we're in the cap space.
Right, and as of right now, just some live updates. Pistons are up 183 on the Wizards, working out their frustrations over some of their recent tough losses, which I'll say about that. Pistons may be the number one seed, but losing to teams like the Raptors, the Knicks, and Spurs makes me question how far they'll really go come playoff time. Based on recent weeks, I could see second round as their ceiling.
What about the Nets? You didn't mention that.
Right, but that's the point is, though, they're winning games against – oh, wait, because they split a couple games with the Nets in recent weeks.
To tell you the truth, we should have never won that game. We should have never won that game. If those two wins and then losing out for the rest of the season could potentially sabotage or tank again.
Dude, right, but that's also saying more about, not to take anything away from your point, but saying more about the Pistons. And speaking of teams, you got the Hornets are up over the Heat 96-88 at the start of the fourth quarter, so there's still time. Thunder are up, getting late toward about 6 minutes left in the fourth, 94-90 over the Magic, and what looks like a good game as expected. You got Suns are up 2 over the T-Wolves late in the second quarter, 61-59, which the T-Wolves, now we're going to see how good that team really is over the next couple of weeks because Ant-Man's going to be out for a few weeks.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for watching episode 6. I'm your co-host, Agent Warrior X. Until next time, have a great night, everybody, and see you all in episode 7.
And by the way, I hope you guys had a fun St. Patrick's Day, hence the green for this one. So for Nikki Stees, Agent Warrior X, adios, and we'll see you next time. Peace.